kitchens. The humble beginnings for Makeup Air, and the one that kind of sets, I think, the story straight for all of us because we can all relate. You walk into a restaurant or a kitchen and you've got either the door cracked open for you where you have an extreme positive pressure in that space. The Makeup Air is probably running and there's an imbalance in the system where the exhaust system is down and you can smell everything that's going on in that restaurant. The reverse scenario, if that door is kind of suctioned closed and you have to tug on that door a little bit to get it cracked open, then you feel that rush of air as you do open that door. Probably the better scenario because at least you're getting all of that exhaust, that kitchen grease laden air out of your space, but you've got an extreme negative in that space. So every nook and cranny, that's the purpose of Makeup Air. So it's really just to balance out that airstream. You want a slight negative in some cases, a slight positive in other cases, but we're making up for whatever that process exhaust is. And since we're bringing in 100% outside air to make up for that, we're going to want to temper it in one way, shape, or form. We're not always a perfect condition outside, and we're aiming for, in a Makeup Air, especially a kitchen, 60 degrees is usually plenty. More focused on the cooling side for a kitchen because of the heat gain in a space than anything else. But again, heating the primary function. Industrial applications, even here at Greenheck, we see this exact example where you might have multiple exhaust fume hoods. In this case, it's weld bays, multiple exhaust fans, one Makeup Air unit. How do we interlock that? What's the sequence look like? This is a typical application where building pressure would be great to be used, where the loss in pressure in that space, the Makeup Air therefore is going to respond, whether it's doing recirculation or a variable volume. You want to maintain maybe a slight positive pressure in that space. As one exhaust fume hood is energized, that pressure is noticed, that difference in the space. Therefore, fan speed can ramp up, or we can change a damper position to bring in more outside air to keep that pressure in that space. Also very common for in that particular scenario where we're trying to keep a positive pressure for warehouse design as well. So we'll talk about space heating as far as a superheated green heat unit, and then we'll also just talk about a general application for a recirc control unit where we're doing building pressure as well. And that's where warehouses come in. Again, we'll focus on this a little bit more toward the end of the presentation, but a couple different approaches here. Heavily favoring direct gas fired heat, superheating that outside air, 0 degree entering, 140 degree leaving air temperature to effectively do two things. We're bringing in fresh air when the unit is energized on to satisfy a space condition, and we're going to superheat it to typically 140 degrees, satisfy the space condition, and then disable. Another option is doing a recirculation option, whether it's with an electric heat, indirect gas fired heat, or direct gas fired heat. And in that case, you're just trying to aim for whatever discharge air temperature that you're trying to maintain in that space for a general space condition. So 65, 60, maybe just a freeze condition. Guys driving around with a forklift maybe can wear a jacket. 55 degrees might even be the general acceptable level there. But in that building pressure scenario, we can do a recirc unit and provide just the discharge air temperature desired for that space. And then the unit is running constant. So you're always churning air throughout that facility. And then the only time you bring in more outside air is when that pressure is lost in the building because a dock door opens up, usually not tied to exhaust systems at all though. So general warehouse ventilation, a little different than typical Makeup Air, but we can utilize the same units to kind of do a dual purpose unit there.